Welcome to my review of Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu for the NES. And this game took me around 2 hours and 28 minutes to beat. And this game is like a much easier version of the TurboGrafx 16 version from what I remember. Quite a bit easier, so it's a good place to start. If you want to work on the TurboGrafx version, you may want to start with this one just to get a kind of easier feel for the game and the layout of the game, because it follows that layout. But I believe it's a little bit shorter and, a lot less enemy and projectile density from what I remember, so quite a bit easier. There's no one-hit deaths in this game as far as I could find, so even if you fall in a pit, usually you'll just have to climb back up, and you won't actually take damage. So it's a lot more forgiving, but it's still a challenging game. The biggest challenge with the game is the first form of the final boss. It can be a pain in the ass. It takes a lot of hits. And it's kind of like, it's a little bit, overly drawn out. But aside from that, I would say the game is one of the better action games on the NES. And it's not too difficult either. So it's good for players that are looking for, more of a medium challenge kind of game. Not something that's super hard. One of the easier NES games for an NES game, because those games tend to be on the harder side most of the time. So in this game, you have hidden bonus stages. They give you the first one for free, but most of them you're going to have to find by jumping off certain platforms in a certain way or doing something specific in kind of a weird area or something like that will trigger the bell to appear. And then when you touch the bell, you'll go into these bonus stages. Now, these are the best way to rack up extra lives and power up your power shot. And you can refill your health as well based on how many points you get. Based on your points, you'll see there's 3 different things that you can get. And it will kind of just dole it out. I guess it takes the sum of your point total and kind of divides, the items into that somehow. So it's a good way to earn lives. Basically, the way the lives work in the game is that your lives are the same as the continues. So, you have 1 life. And if you lose that life, you go out to the continue screen. And you have a limited amount of continues. But you can earn over 20 continues if you find all the bonus stages and do well in them. So you have a chance to have a lot of lives. And when you continue, you're going to start at the same place as if you lost a life, because your lives are your continues, basically. So, each stage has multiple checkpoints. So when you die, you will start at those checkpoints indefinitely until you waste all your continues. So that's how that works. And this river stage can be a little challenging. It's good to take a lot of the stages slow. It makes it a lot easier. There's a few auto-scrolling sections where you have to move with the screen, but most of the time you can take your time and play certain areas carefully. Here I was trying to trigger a bonus stage because I didn't know where they were in this stage. So, the more of them you can get, the better. But I will drop a link to my tutorial in the description. I did a tutorial on this game with commentary, breaking it, all my strategies I used down. But this wasn't a refined playthrough or anything. Pretty, simple. I didn't really practice the game too heavily. I did a practice run first before I tried to actually beat the game. Well, first I tried to beat the game, normally. But once that failed, once I failed my first attempt and wasted all my lives, then I did a practice run through the game. And after that, I beat it on the first try after that, but it was very close. I almost fucked it up on the first form of the final boss. The method that I used was really risky, trying to stun lock the boss. It's tricky to pull off. So here's an auto-scrolling section. I believe there's only a few sections like this in the entire game, maybe 1 or 2. So it's not common. But most of the time you can kind of take your time and proceed the screen at your own pace. Enemies don't respawn once they're killed, like they do in Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 on the NES. Ninja Gaiden 3 fixed that problem, which was, kind of interesting. If you would consider that a problem with the first 2 games, it was fixed in the 3rd game. But yeah, this is a high-quality action game. Very good control, precise hit detection. It's quite a good game. I still see this as a TurboGrafx game since I owned it on the TurboGrafx, but You know, standing alone as an NES game, it's very good. So this is the final area of the game. You have to fight these 3 dragons, and then you'll fight the final boss. I usually show the final boss in these older game reviews. But yeah, definitely, you know, in the upper class of like NES action games, you know, not quite on the level of some of the Ninja Gaiden games for the NES. You know, those are probably some of the best action games in this style for the NES. You know, Metal Storm is incredibly good. You know, there's quite a few that are at a higher level, but you know, this one's quite good. You get some of your resources replenished before the final boss. I think you do between both forms of the final boss. You get some replenishments. But this was the stun lock technique that I went with, and it wasn't the best way to fight the boss probably, because it's dangerous to time. It's a difficult timing, and it's easy to just lose all your health. But this is what I found that I wanted to go with. But I got tired of chasing the boss around, so I was like, fuck it, let me try to exploit it. But in the recording, the boss does disappear a lot because the recording doesn't pick it up when he's flashing, you know. Though for some reason it seems to be showing up here, which is strange. Maybe because I ran this through a program that combined the videos, it must have like revealed the image somehow. Now he's invisible. Okay, now he went invisible again. But yeah, it's pretty much you got to do this pattern for a really long time, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because you start fucking it up, and then you know you die fast. But you can take about 6 hits normally, and you do get some health back from frogs that you punch. But aside from that, you know, when you run out of health, then you know you got to continue on the last checkpoint you got to, and depending how many bonus stages you completed and did well in, will determine how many continues you have basically. So now this is the final form of the last boss, and this one is really easy. You can throw out all your fireballs. You use fireballs by holding down the punch button and releasing it. You charge it up. And you get a few of them on each life. And I think you can replenish them by picking up certain items, but I wasn't really paying attention to what the pickups did. You also have a special move. When you hold up and punch, you'll do one of your special moves. And you get different ones equipped depending on which one you picked up. And you can replenish those somehow too. So that's some shit that you have available. You know, those are some other tools aside from just jump kicking and punching shit. You got your jump kick, your punch, your trip kick for low enemies and things like that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'd give this one a 7.5 out of 10. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.